What we need to remember is that we are not fighting masculine energy. We are not fighting our intellect. They're all tools. Your masculine energy is a tool. Your feminine energy is a tool. Love is a tool, and your intellect is a tool. If love is present, then growth is present. The harder we work, the harder we push, the more we do in a very, logic and intellectual way, is the happier we'll be. And that is a very false dichotomy. It is an illusion. And to me, fear is the only delusion, especially when the choices are to love or to not love. Today is my first time filming with my new microphone, and I'm really excited. And I'm really excited to finally get into this series and to really express myself and to use my voice. I've been battling with a lot of self-doubt for a long time, but I'm finally here. And that means something, so little ASMR, right? Today I am drinking this black soy and matcha latte. It's a bit of a thicker consistency because it's one of those Taiwanese breakfast cereals technically, but it is really delicious and super easy to fix. One of my bigger obsessions when I used to live in Korea is black soy milk. It is so delicious and fragrant. Oh, I love it. It used to be something that I would get every single morning before class in Korea. In the convenience stores, they'll put this black soy milk into this heating, what do you call that? Like, I guess a microwave. It's not a microwave, like, it's a glass case that keeps it warm. Anyway, I hope you're comfortable and that you have some tea. I'm so excited to start this series talking about self-empowerment, practical self-help, bringing in the woo into your everyday and helping you to progress out of your negative cycles. Somehow feeling is now a bad thing. Feeling undoes your ability to think logically, and we're so obsessed with this yang energy, this masculine way of solving things, which completely renders the feminine intuition or your natural ability to react, process, and move with the energies, flows, and ebbs of life. And that is completely counterintuitive because, yes, you can get far by using logic and using your intellect, and there is nothing wrong with tapping into that, but you are leaving on the table the literal most powerful magic in the world, the most powerful science in the world, love. You simply cannot get anywhere, get anyhow from point A to point B, etc. without tapping into your human birthright, your human superpower, which is your capacity and ability to love. It is what separates us from anything else in this world. It's that we have this capacity to feel and to love. And it's like in this world that we're in, we are constantly fighting that. We're constantly fighting this nature. And I'm sure you've seen in so many movies, in so many Disney movies, not even just Disney, but there are so many media examples of love being this really powerful thing. And we talk about how love conquers all, and it's a really beautiful thought. And because we often see quote unquote love fail, sometimes we start to lose, we become disenchanted with this idea. Like, this idea is no longer a real thing to us. And I find that extremely depressing. Like, it is really sad that because we have this very shallow understanding of love, when we see, situations that people are calling love fail, then all of a sudden we decide to completely throw away our intuition and our natural ability and capacity to love as humans. My household is really big on the masculine energy, and I mean the whole world is, because we have been taught for a long time through the patriarchy that masculinity trumps femininity, and being feminine is embarrassing, being a pussy is embarrassing, being afraid, being emotional, being moved by something is embarrassing. And it's only now in this generation that we're coming back and saying, damn, we really fucked up by ignoring this aspect of ourselves, ignoring that energy that we have. I mean, even for our boys, we have failed them because we have not allowed them to explore themselves emotionally. We have not allowed them to explore themselves as these magical human beings. Oh, I'm like getting so excited that I'm ruining my backdrop. We talk about women being these goddesses and these ethereal beings, these angels, and women are constantly trying to remind themselves how magical they are in our modern world that mostly regards masculinity and knowledge up high. But what we need to remember is that we are not fighting masculine energy, we are not fighting our intellect. There is this concept in Gene Keys. It's not really a Gene Keys concept, but I recently reread it in Gene Keys, and it talks about how masculine energy and feminine energy can be exemplified in spirituality by yoga and meditation. Yoga is a systematic way of using your body or moving your body in ways that you know will unlock stagnant energy, stuck positions. It's a way to get yourself in flow. In other words, it's a masculine method of healing, right? You know there's a problem, you think about the problem, and you come up with a solution, a position that will help to release and solve the problem. Now, meditation is quite the opposite. We are not thinking about any problem in particular. We are releasing everything and letting the energy flow, both our negativity out and positivity in. Same thing with reconnecting in nature, in taking breaks. Like, these are intuitive ways of healing, and it's pretty good knowledge. I have it on pretty good authority that both methods can be life-changing. Like journaling versus open meditation or empathic tarot reading, for example. You have all these different methods that are equal. They're all tools. Your masculine energy is a tool. Your feminine energy is a tool. Love is a tool, and your intellect is a tool. So what I want to do is go back a bit and talk about love and what love is at its core. Why can romantic love be so potent? Or the love of a mother for a child represents the goal of life. Love is an extension of life's original purpose, which is simply to explore possibilities and to continue forward, to progress, to grow. That is life's prerogative. Life does not see things as negative or positive. Life does not see someone who lived a short life as someone worse than someone who lives a long life. Life does not discriminate between death and birth as positive or negative. All of these things that we are trying to decide is a bad thing or a good thing, from the perspective of life, of the universe, we are all in harmony, all perfect. The one prerogative is that we may live, continue to experiment, to try every channel. It's like we're like the guinea pig for the universe, you know? And love is an extension of that. Love seeks to grow. Love seeks to transform. That's what love is all about. Love seeks to pull you to the best possibility of your timeline. Love seeks to grow something to the most of its potential. So when a mother loves a child, they want to leave that child with something that they can grow with for the rest of their life, something that will impact them even when the parent is no longer there, something that does not directly benefit them, you know? And that's what makes love so potent. That says something. That means that this love that we talk about, this feeling, I don't really believe that love in and of itself is a feeling. I think joy is a feeling, ecstasy is a feeling, excitement is a feeling, happiness is a feeling, and those feelings are products of stable and long-lasting love, but it is not that feeling that creates, like, that's not what we define as love. If love is present, then growth is present. And there are a lot of ways that we like things, that we pour energy into things, that we feel really strongly about things, but it is not loving those things based on the criteria, which means that those things do not grow after we put our auras together, for example. I don't know how to exactly phrase it, but let me give you an example. Let's say you're a mother who loves her child and you never want to see your child sad. And you see that you're spoiling your child. You've noticed that your child is increasingly unhappy and dissatisfied with their life because their life is mostly dependent on some kind of material trade-off that you have been participating with them. And so you can tell that this is not good for the child, but you just cannot stand to see them cry. You just cannot stand to see them sad. You just cannot deal with their disappointment. So every time they are disappointed, you give them something. And when you give them something, are they growing from that action? They are not growing from that action, and neither are you. Actually, you're hurting both the child and yourself by giving into this. You're taking the easier road. You're taking the easier path to protect your feelings, but you are not taking the path that you know will truly grow this person. Or let's say in the opposite direction. Let's say you're a parent who loves your child and they're doing something bad, and every time they do this thing, you're yelling at them. You're yelling, you're angry, you are borderline abusive. And you can tell, because you have been acting this way since the moment that child was born. Every time they do something bad, you've been giving them the stern discipline that you were taught works. And you've noticed that your child has not improved. Your child is still doing the exact same thing, except now they're hiding from you and they're doing even bigger things and they seem depressed and they seem unhappy. You as a parent have to realize that you are getting angry at them because that is what you know, and because that allows you to release the frustration that you have, that you are releasing the fear that you have that this child will not do well, or this child will not learn, or this child will not grow. But if the child is not responding and you continue to do the same thing over and over, that is a symbol of non-love. And the path of love would be doing the thing that you know will make that child truly happy in rooms that you are not present in. And that is super important, you know? And so this is what love really encompasses. I learned about this for the first time, or I started to consider these differences in love, when I read this book called The Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck. That is exactly why I keep mentioning that you are choosing the easy road. And there is a road that is less traveled, and that is the path of love. And so it's not that we're always witnessing love failing, or emotions failing, or being sensitive failing. It's not that we're witnessing this all the time. It's that we hardly follow through on these kind of higher level Siddhic emotions and powers like love. We rarely follow through. We usually crumble way too quickly before we can really see the fruits of the seeds that we have planted. And then we give in to this society matrix idea that the harder we work, the harder we push, the more we do in a very, logic and intellectual way, is the happier we'll be. And that is a very false dichotomy. It is an illusion. And to me, fear is the only delusion, especially when the choices are to love or to not love. So this book was written by a psychiatrist who had been working in lots of different environments for decades. And he uses both his experiences with clients, and he changes the names and stuff, as well as his personal input and spiritual beliefs to create and explain to us the mechanics of growth, spiritually and psychologically, with his psychiatric degree and all of that. And it's super interesting. I'm gonna put up a quote that explains love from his perspective here. What I've learned in life is that love is not truly a feeling. Love is a conviction and a commitment to something that belongs to you. That was huge. I need to take a sip of tea and then say it again. Love is a commitment to nourishing something that belongs to you. And it's also just realizing and accepting that that thing belongs to you. And maybe from me saying this already, you're starting to connect the dots between how manifestation works and how really manifestation is you utilizing the tool and the power of love to shift and bend your reality. And even outside of manifestation, it is just the most truest thing. Like I can't even like I'm emotional talking about it, because it's crazy how much people are not able to tap into this birthright. When you realize that this career, this side project, you, your body, your children, whatever it is, when you realize these things belong to you, and that these are the things that are gifted to you, these are the things that you want to grow, you are never gonna throw these things away. So it's you and those things. When you truly commit to those things because they are yours, just like this world is ours, and we should commit to healing it, to recycling, to growing it, to taking care of it, to make sure that everyone who lives on this planet can be happy and has equal access to education and to be able to be loved and to love others. This is the birth of discipline. So in that book, The Road Less Traveled, discipline is explained as one of the most simple forms of love. Whoa. When we think about discipline, we're usually not thinking about love at all. We're thinking about rage, we're thinking about frustration, we're thinking about guilt. But discipline can never be any of those things. And that is exactly why when we guilt ourselves, when we're angry at ourselves, when you're angry at others as well, we get a very cheap version results. Kind of like an Azula from Avatar, or I don't know, what's her face from Game of Thrones? The blonde bitch. Cersei. Those characters who use fear and anger to control people, yeah, it gets you very far. Very far. But there is still not an unwavering core to it. And it will never be stronger than discipline that is built on love. And so it's so important. Why are we able to get up in the morning early or to sit down and do something that we said we were going to do yesterday? It's because we have come to the realization that we belong to us. Like, I am my own child. I am God's child. I am so deserving. I am my mom's child. I am my father's child. I am my grandparents' child. I am my great-grandparents' child. I come from something. I am worth it, and I did not come onto this planet from zero. I am not an island. I am born into something that innately makes me valuable, and so are you. You can always tell that someone loves themselves by how much they commit to their own goals, how much they commit to their own happiness. You can tell that someone loves themselves when they get up in the morning and they put on clothes just because it makes them feel cute. And people who keep coming back to themselves and who show themselves on their sleeves, you can tell that they love themselves. And those are the people, when we feel their uniqueness, that's when we also feel compelled to listen to them, compelled to ask them questions, compelled to help them, compelled to put them in positions of leadership. And this discipline will not flow. You cannot give your mindset of discipline to other people unless you first love yourself. You know, have you ever laughed at those jokes where it's like, you know, yeah, he's an idiot, but he's my idiot, when it's your partner or something, and you're like, yeah, I know he's insane, but he's my insane little, you know? This is exactly what I'm talking about, that love is when you accept that something belongs to you and you want that thing to be happy regardless, and you need to treat yourself like that too. The same way that you would forgive your friend for any goddamn thing they did because you know them, you understand them, you love them. You need to start doing that for yourself. You need to start thinking about yourself as this little girl who came from where you came from, who went through all of this shit, this little boy who was, you know, was never allowed to play with their toys, and now you are the adult that you always needed. You need to be that adult who you always needed, and you can literally use love to grow yourself. It changes everything. It sounds so simple because it is, because the most beautiful things in life are the most simple things in life. Okay, I've said a lot, and I hope that something in this video has touched you and that you remember that, yes, okay, love is a tool, but also the very first place you need to start is with yourself. That when you fill your cup, it will overflow into others, and that you deserve to be loved. And when you can truly love yourself for all your faults, that's when you will completely love others for their faults as well and for their amazing parts. And you will hold your boundaries, but you will also feel so loved, so much more loved when you can accept yourself and know that you belong to you. Everything will start opening up to you, and then your relationships, your career, whatever it is, you'll see how potent the love will be in those situations. This was a great first video. I feel really good. I hope you do too. If you like this video, then please do subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and also I have a newsletter where I am writing my muses and my thoughts and a bit more targeted tidbits. If you want to see that in your inbox, then do subscribe. And otherwise, I can't wait to see you in the next visual podcast, you know, fancy stuff. And yeah, I love you, truly and honestly. Bye bye.